I will be analyzing the nonverbal communication between Willadine Dixon and her mother, Rosie Dixon, from the movie Dumplin'. A little bit about Willadine. She is hard-headed, independent, and confident, whereas in her mom is also confident, but she's more self-centered and judgmental. Willadine was raised by her Aunt Lucy, and she taught her you don't have to be skinny in order to be pretty. Whereas in Rosie was once a bigger girl, but lost the weight and then went on to win a beauty pageant, and now she runs that beauty pageant. So for the codes, I did the same four for both Willadine and Rosie. So I'm going to start with Willadine's, but then I'll move over to Rosie's, and then I'll compare them and add examples. So for gesture and body movements, Willadine had great body posture. She would carry herself with confidence. She always held her head high, always shoulders back, head up high. You could tell that she was confident from across the room. She made strong eye contact and facial expressions. You would know her feelings without hearing them, so you always knew what she felt just by the way she would stand and move her body. Her voice, she would use a loud voice to get her point across. She also had a little bit of strictness in her voice, along with sassy and sweet. Whatever feelings she wanted to emulate, she would change her tone. So sometimes it was a little bit more strict, sometimes it was a little bit more, sweet or sassy, just depending on what the situation was or who she was talking to. Her physical appearance, she didn't really care about what she wore, but it wasn't sloppy. So she wore mostly jeans and a t-shirt every day. Her hair was a curly mess. Her body type was overweight or bigger. And she grew up listening to Dolly Parton. And she also lived in Texas. So, that Dolly Parton was kind of her inspiration. The environment, she lived in a small town in Texas where being in the beauty pageant was everything. If you weren't in the beauty pageant, you were kind of a nobody. She was raised by her aunt and taught you could have fun and you didn't have to be skinny or a size 2 to do what you wanted to do. Moving on to Rosie, Rosie's gesture and body movements were similar to Willadine's. She had amazing body posture and gesture. Her eye contact was strong, but she lacked facial expressions. During the movie, it was sometimes hard to see what she truly felt. So I remember in the movie, it was Willadine had gone to turn in her application for the beauty pageant, and her mom was the chairman, and they had a small argument, but it was whispering mainly, and her mom was a bit more surprised than mad, which was really confusing. Her voice, she had a soft-spoken voice that draws you in. Her pitch when speaking would change with either who she was speaking with or whatever the situation was. Along with the soft tone, she could throw sternness into it. Physical appearance, after losing weight and winning the beauty pageant, she was obsessive of what she looked like. Her hair was perfect along with her clothes, always dressed up for the public. She lost weight, so she was skinny, and she also grew up in Texas, so it was very a certain shape, I guess. The environment, same as Willadine's, only really cared about the beauty pageant, thought life was easier for smaller girls and harder for bigger girls. But those were the nonverbal communications that I saw from them. And then the relational context was mother-daughter with miscommunication, which slowly turns to understanding each other. Situational context was a beauty pageant in Texas to show her mom she didn't have to be skinny in order to be in the beauty pageant. So I remember one scene, it was her and her friend Ellen. It was like a swimsuit contest portion, and it was everybody is a swimsuit body, which I liked. The cultural context was always made fun of for not being small, and if you weren't a size 2, you couldn't do beauty pageants. I feel like this movie is really good for nonverbal because it brings out a certain light to how beauty pageants and people who are bigger, don't get to fit in. So